Yo, what's up everybody? As a new player to RuneScape coming from World of Warcraft, I've been playing for around 3 weeks now, and one of the biggest things that surprised me is how intertwined all of the systems are to your character's progression. Where in WoW, you hit max level in a couple of days, and then you throw yourself into the most recent dungeon or raid until you're geared for that season. However, one thing I'm learning in Old School Runescape is the gear progression just stays relevant. I recently hit 60 attack, and I went to the Grand Exchange, grabbed the Dragon Sword, and was just ready to go do some more tasks. And I got a notification that, hold on, you don't have the right to wield this item. You have to complete a quest. And that's something I hadn't seen before. And the more I play, it's recommending that you have to go and do quests that are like really old, like 10-year-old quests. So it's fascinating that even in 2025, you're still sent on this journey that everyone else has been through. Even though these things are outdated, they're still current. So I'm really surprised by that, and it's definitely been a really fun part of the game for me. That's what this one is going to be mostly about, that journey through this gear progression system, at least some of it, to do some of these harder quests, gear the character along the way, and learn it as we go. If you enjoy this is part 3 of the Old School RuneScape series, so do let me know in the comments if you want to see more. But let's get straight into this. Okay, so the first problem I had was a lack of gold. Though I wanted to earn a bit of gold to just, be able to buy some gear, some potions, and just progress a little bit. So I started skilling, and the only skills I really had leveled to a decent place, like above 50, was mining and smelting. And most of the comments from the last video was, they're not great. It was that they're not great, but it's all I had. So the goal was live in the Motherlode mine. I cranked out hundreds and hundreds of ore. I leveled my mining a ton, and I got all the upgrades. I could go to the second level. I got the hopper on the second level, so I could, mine there more and faster. And then I unlocked the coal bag, which lets you store like a full inventory of coal in one bag to make smelting faster. And then I looked, what's a good thing to do? Now I have this, and it said, go to the blast furnace and smelt bars. So that sounds good. But every single time I go to that wiki, it just overwhelms you. It's like, oh yeah, so first you've got to do this quest, then you've got to go and get like ice gloves, then you could also get gold gloves to do this other thing, and go to the special world. So bit by bit, I started working on it. I went to the dwarf quest, which takes you to like the giant dwarven city, and realized that this is just pure cinema. I will say this quest did break me a little bit. I've been trying to do most quests like solo without looking up too many guides, but this one I was just stumped. There was like a minecart thing, and then you had to like hide behind something and telekinetically like grab something. I was completely stumped, so I had to go to Quest Helper. Lots of people have been recommending it, but I was trying to hold off until I really needed it. So yeah, it was super helpful. I was nervous about getting too reliant on these RuneLite plugins, but they just give so much quality of life. It's getting harder and harder to resist them. So with that done, I then looked for the ice gloves. That said it was tied behind some other big quest, but I just went to the mountain, climbed down, and just threw fireballs at this ice person and got the gloves that way. I don't know if that's frowned upon, but I was a bit quested out at that point. And the way these gloves are supposed to work is they stop you needing to cool down the bars in the blast furnace. So when you make the bars, you have to throw water on them to cool them down. But if you have the gloves, you don't have to, so you can make more bars and with less downtime kind of thing. I think that's how it works. So with everything together, I had the bars from the Motherlode mine, I had the coal bag, the ice gloves, and the blast furnace unlocked. I just went and just locked myself in the blast furnace. They said there was like there was a blast furnace world, and I went on that, and there was just like 100 people zigzagging between the two things, and I just stayed there until I worked through all of the ore. So yeah, with everything together, like the gems and the gold bars and the mithril bars, everything together, I just chucked everything on the Grand Exchange and got around 1 million, which was massive at that point, because that kind of unlocked a lot more stuff. I felt like I could go and get some item upgrades, get some gear, and finally start tackling some of the harder parts of the game, at least hard to me at that point. Okay, and then for Monkey Madness, I don't even know what to say about this quest. This was the first probably challenging and big quest I've done that has like multiple parts you have to go back and forward to, and I still don't know if I enjoyed it or not. I think I did, but there were definitely parts where I was getting very frustrated. There's a part where you had to like run through this over leveled dungeon, and I got deleted. I had to teleport out, went back, and it happened again. So I don't know if I was just under geared. There's a bit where you're stuck in like a monkey cage, and every time I tried to leave, the monkey would catch me, and like the gorilla would like throw you back at the thing, And I maybe I'm just a bit slow. Maybe I just wasn't connecting the dots, but I found it a little bit hard. There was one bit where I was trying to talk to, there was like a monkey, and you're trying to talk to it to get it to give you a talisman. And this ninja turned up and it just donked me and put me back in the cage, and it was all the way back to the start. That was annoying. And then you go and rescue a monkey from the zoo, and then you're supposed to take it back to the island. So I used a rune thing to teleport, and then the lost the monkey, and then I had to go all the way back. And I don't know, bro. I think maybe I should have just sat and fully committed to Quest Hub, but fully just read the guide step by step, because trying to work things out myself was really, really punishing. And then get into the final fight at the end. Again, I tried to do the fight authentically and just got melted. So I read up on the wiki, and it said just cheese it, just stand over the bridge and cheese it. I did that, and it was a lot easier. But yeah, this quest probably took me a day, and I don't know if that is shameful to say, but this took me a long time. And I'm talking like lots of parts I just failed and had to go back and start again. But the feeling of getting through it was worth it. So even though I was kind of frustrated going through it, getting it done, and then hitting that moment where, you know, you can now equip dragon swords was really, really worth it. And like kind of encourages you to do more of the big quests. But yeah, I'd love to know what your first impressions of this quest was. Does it hold like a place where you're like, oh, that was amazing, or frustrating? What was your vibe on this one? Now, one of the reasons I probably found Monkey Madness so hard was that almost every step it was like, use this protection from melee, protection from magic, that guy. I had none of that. So I thought, you know, every quest I'm looking at has this as a recommendation. Let's do it. It recommended 43 to get the 3 defensive ones, you know, the magic, the ranged, and the melee. So I looked at it and I saw 2 good options. One was to go to the wilderness, so I didn't do that. And the other was to go and find a house and just use bones in that house to gain tons of XP. So I did that way. Luckily, like I say, I had tons of gold saved up from the blast furnace. So I just bought a ton of dragon bones and small dragon bones and just blasted this out in like 45 minutes, an hour, which was, thankfully, I'd saved all that gold, which was enabling stuff like this to power level things a bit faster. And I think that's one thing I'm starting to realize about the differences between like an Iron Man and a non-Iron Man. It feels like when you look at the wiki, if you have the gold, you can actually like get shortcuts, or you can level things much, much faster than maybe the designed way. You know, the way that you should do it is one way, and then the way you can just throw gold to level it faster is another way. I definitely think, you know, there's if I had more gold, I could have leveled prayer even further. I mean, I used most of my gold to do this, but if I had like millions and millions, I could have just taken this even further and bought the even bigger, you know, dragon bones and like the big expensive ones. So yeah, I'm finding that quite interesting. I kind of like being on a normal one where you can, you know, work hard at a certain skill, make some gold, and then use that to do stuff maybe you don't want to do. I like that in a way, but I can definitely see the appeal of an Iron Man. And as a side note, this has really, really, really made me want to get into houses, because these houses seem not only very, very useful for like getting around, but they just seem cool. Okay, the next thing to talk about is Slayer. Slayer is without doubt my favorite skill in the entire game, and it's not even close. Everything I talk about in any of this series, I'm doing Slayer in the background. I've just been doing it since the start. I've got it to like level 50 now, and I just really enjoy it. I don't know if it's coming from WoW, the monotony of just like simple tasks, or if it's just the progression, but I just really find it satisfying. Go kill 100 fire giants, go kill 50 orcs, go kill, you know, 100 ogres, moss giants. I just find it really rewarding grinding these tasks, watching your strength grow up, watching your, you know, your the Slayer XP go up, unlocking new monsters. And I just unlocked the Slayer Master on top of the big mountain. Quite early on when I was doing like some like fire imp thing, I met somebody who was doing a Slayer task, and they mentioned the bigger and badder upgrade. And they said that, you know, when you get this upgrade from your Slayer Master, there is a chance for the monsters you're fighting to upgrade into something even stronger, like a 1 in 200 chance, and then they can give really good rewards. So that's something I've been working towards, and every time I level my Slayer and get new Slayer points, I'm kind of working towards that first 150. So getting this Slayer Master, who gives a lot more points, was kind of a a big milestone for me. And I know like some people say that you should wait until you've maxed your strength and stuff to go do Slayer because it's faster, but I'm just enjoying it and I've just been doing it this way. I also, while I was doing Fire Giants, I am taking about, 2 or 3 minutes to beat one giant. I saw someone using the Dwarf multi-cannon, and that thing was busted. They were taking out like 5 for every one that I did. So I went back to the Grand Exchange after this task and pretty much just sold every single thing I could scavenge to get enough for a Dwarf multi-cannon myself. I then took that on my next Slayer task, dropped it down, and just destroyed everything, and realized that is the fastest way to lose all of my gold. So every time I have like spare gold, I'll take this out and throw 500 cannonballs into it, because I can make those now myself as well. But I'm finding that it's not sustainable to keep using it because it's just so it just goes through them so fast. So that's definitely helped me level my Slayer, but I'm trying to only use it when I have a good drop, or I've done a bit of mining or something like that, because I can't find any other way to sustain myself and actually have that surplus of gold to just throw into the dwarf cannon. Now, the one thing I really don't understand with the whole Slayer thing is the tasks. I don't understand who gives what task, or how to get a task you want, or what task is going to be good. Every single task I've had so far has probably been a net negative on gold, because by the time you bought your potions and stuff, you just don't really make any gold. So I don't know what tasks are good, and I also don't know what to do. I just keep trying to level it so far. So one thing I have tried to do is to unlock new monsters. If you have any tips though, do let me know, because it's something I want to get better at. So I went and did a couple of smaller ones to unlock different monsters for Slayer tasks, and then I got to the dragon one, and this was just epic. This is probably one of my favorite quests so far, purely because it's the first time I've fought a dragon. I had the dragon legs and the dragon feet, which I just bought off the Grand Exchange, and the dragon scimitar from the Monkey Madness, and then getting to fight a dragon with I had like a what's it called, I had a dragon shield. It just felt sick. This was easily like a pinnacle quest of like accomplishment, and just I don't know, it just felt really rewarding to be at that point, even though I know it's like a super early quest and it's nothing to really it wasn't challenging in any way, there's no mechanics, but it just felt really good to get this one done. And then I think it says once you've done that, you can then get dragon quests, which I'm really excited for. I hear Slayer gets really cool, and there's like bosses or something at the end of it, but so far it's just go and beat random monsters. So I'm just going to keep at it, but any tips would definitely be appreciated. And from here I started to look how I could upgrade my gear to the next level, and it was said go and do some mini game to get a really good chest piece, the fighter torso I think it was, or go and get the Viking helmet. So I looked up both of these items, and the helmet looks just like the thing from Asterix and Obelix. It's an old cartoon if you've seen it, but the dude's helmet was like the winged helmet. It reminded me of that, so I went through that one. And this quest was long. I'm going to be fully honest, it peaked at the end. The first part of this quest was mind-numbingly boring. There was one part where you just had to talk to like 50 people. I'm sure I spent almost over an hour just click on one person, click on the next person, talk to this guy, talk to this guy. And it was so long. However, once you got past the first part and you unlocked the ship to, I can't remember the name. There was like 2 islands you could go to, and you're working for like the 2 Vikings, and you got in the jester outfit, and you had to trick one of the leaders, and then you were like going and repairing the bridges and fighting the trolls. It peaked so hard. I thought the quest was incredible towards the end, but the first part, the busy work they have you doing was tedious. But I think what keeps it going is how good the storytelling is. It's kind of still tied into lore, and it does play on the mythology a little bit and the Vikings, and it kind of keeps you going with that. But yeah, the second part, earning the trust with the leaders and stuff, I thought was fantastic. And the ending was genuinely hard. I'm really surprised at how challenging some of the stuff is. I think when you get to the final cave with the trolls, I was not prepared in any way, and I got wrecked, because they have you wear a certain armor set and a certain shield for like the disguise or something, and I just got wrecked. I think I was like really low HP and had to just start out and come back with more gear and more food, because I got melted. I got fully just pushed against the wall there. And after regearing, I finally got it done and got to the privilege of wearing this Fremennik helmet. And I just can't. It's hard to articulate it maybe, but the feeling of not being able to wear a piece of gear until you've done these, and like these quests take me a long time. Like I say, I think I'm a bit slow, but they take me a long time. Like some of them take me nearly a day. But when you finally get these, and they're very memorable long quests, the ability to then wear that helmet every time you see that helmet, and every time you see it on another person, and every time you see it in your bank or something, you have the memory. And it's not just a stat piece, it's a item that took you a long time to get. And that's one thing that I wish World of Warcraft had, because there the gear is just numbers. It's just, okay, this is eye level from this boss, eye level from this dungeon at this level. So yeah, these quests are definitely really gripping me, and this progression through the gear, I love it. I think going forward, I saw there's like a really good torso to get, and I'm very, very nervous about this recipe for disaster quest, because I've heard a lot of people mention that. And then I don't know where we go from there. I have no idea. I guess just get stronger and level up. But yeah, that's kind of where we are. And bossing, I guess at some point, I've heard the early bosses are really good. So yeah, I think that's it for here. Thank you so much if you're still watching this little, Old School Runescape first attempt of going through the game. Thank you so much. I'll keep making more if you want to see them, so do let me know down below. But thank you for watching. If you have any tips or any ideas where to go from here, do let me know. But take care, and I'll catch you on the next one.